Hello everybody and welcome back to OMB Reviews. I am the critic who is a cynic. Hope you're doing well, and today we'll be doing a box office preview for this upcoming weekend, which sees the release of brand new films, The Bad Guys, The Northman, and the new Nicolas Cage film, The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. We'll talk about what the projections are seeming to indicate about these films that are set to release. And also, I'll give my own thoughts, pre-thoughts, as it were, to The Northman, as I have tickets to go see that film tonight, and I'm quite excited to go see it. But before going any further, please make sure that you smash that like button, light up that fire button if you're watching over on Odyssey, and also make sure that you are subscribed to the channel with that bell notification turned on. That way you know every time a video or live stream goes live on the channel. So, we have here some very interesting news. The biggest, of course, is that Fantastic Beasts 3, in its second week of release, is expected to have a pretty massive 62% drop. Now, I say pretty massive because we've seen larger drop-offs. This obviously could be a much worse case scenario for the film. The film could actually even have a higher drop-off theoretically, but the projections are indicating a 62% drop. But the reason why that is significant is because the opening weekend for the film was a lot lower than what many had originally expected, coming in well underneath even previous releases from this year, like Uncharted, and that surprised a lot of people. It is easily the lowest opening weekend for any Harry Potter film, Harry Potter related or adjacent film to ever come out, even when you adjust numbers for inflation, especially when you adjust numbers for inflation. But also, it indicates that people are tired of this universe, and that there probably are a plethora of reasons for people to kind of skip out on this film. I think the Johnny Depp situation is having a bigger impact, and I know, River's not very happy with the entire situation going on with Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. But I think that has had a bigger impact than maybe some people would like to admit. And I think that is being made very clear just in the massive loss of numbers. We knew that this movie was going to be coming in well underneath the previous film, especially since the previous film was so bad that it led to a massive, almost $200 million difference between that and its previous film. But also terrible reviews, and even leading to people that had somewhat of an interest in this universe to just say, yeah, you know what, I'm done. I'm done. Crimes of Grindelwald, I think, really did, push a lot of people out, and I think that's even made more clear when you look at the raw numbers here. But in its second week of release, that 62% drop is expected to lead it to a $16.2 million second weekend, bringing its total domestic number to around $69.3 million. And that seems to indicate that the chances of this film reaching $100 million is going to be really difficult, especially since you have a lot of films set to come out over the next several weeks, providing a lot of competition. In fact, this weekend really is going to be probably one of the most competitive weekends that we've had in a long time, because we've got 3 new releases set to come out competing in addition to the second weekend of Fantastic Beast and yet another weekend of Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Sonic the Hedgehog 2, by the way, is expected to, even after several weeks, to come in here in the number one spot, making another $17.3 million, bringing its domestic to $148 million, a 41% hold from the previous week. So very, very strong numbers here for Sonic the Hedgehog 2, which is why last week I was able to project that this film will be making some pretty massive profits and easily will take over and beat the original film. So much for the pandemic narrative. The Bad Guys is a new animated feature, which I personally have no interest in, mostly because when I saw the trailer for it and I saw the name Lily Singh pop up on the screen, I said, yeah, you know what? No, thank you. Even though it does have people like Sam Rockwell in the film, who I, in general, like, when I see names like Awkwafina, or when I see names like Lily Singh, or Mark Maron, I kind of say, yeah, you know what? No, thank you. I'm okay. I can skip out on this one. So I have no interest whatsoever in seeing this film. And you all know me, I try to go see as much as I can, as many movies as I can. But this is one that I think I might just choose to sit out on, because even though there's films like The Unbearable Massive Weight of Talent, which I think is a little bit too much on the nose with the whole Nicolas Cage thing, I still probably will end up seeing it because I just have a genuine interest to see exactly what kind of film they're going to make when basically Nicolas Cage is in on the joke about Nicolas Cage being Nicolas Cage. Again, I think that is a funny, entertaining concept in general, but I think the trailer has actually been to the detriment of that story, because I think that it's been, again, way too on the nose and a little bit too much as far as exposition is concerned, and not leaving enough mystery as far as what the plot of the film is going to be, and just some of the jokes and things like that. I think they could have been a little bit more mysterious with it overall. But again, Sonic the Hedgehog 2 is expected to come in at number 1 this weekend with $17.3 million. Fantastic Beasts, again, massive drop-off, $16.2 million there. The Bad Guys, with the being a new release, is expected to be the winner of the new releases, at least, making $14.8 million, coming out at over 4,000 screens. And, that's not a terrible number. However, we do now have some box office numbers for this film, and the movie costs around $70 million. And so if you take a look at the box office charting, because we like to do some box office charting, by the way, there are 2 charts. There's one that I run through Excel, which is going to have, the full breakdowns on it. But if you want ones that are more live and up to date, it's a lot easier for me to update the this is the Google Docs, basically the Google Sheets version of the same thing. As you can see, that front column, for some reason, doesn't stick on the published version. It does on the actual, Excel, the actual Sheets version that I use to enter into the data. But for some reason, when it's published on the website, it does not actually do so like the one up here. But this one's a lot easier to update in general. But as you can see, the unbearable massive weight of talent, we have in fact, that's actually in the wrong category. I'm going to have to fix that. But anyway, that $70 million is actually in reference to the film in the third column, and that is The Bad Guys 2022. So, meaning The Bad Guys cost $70 million, meaning its break even is $175 million, which it very well could do. However, again, domestically may not be necessarily the place where the film is actually able to do that. This film is apparently based off an illustrated graphic novel, and so I think that might be why some people are more excited for this film than others. I've seen some people in the comment section saying that they are excited to see this film, that they already got their tickets for it, or they can't wait to go see it. But again, when you have a name like Lily Singh in there, that kind of just immediately goes, nah, you know what? No, thank you. The one I am excited for, of course, is the one that I have tickets for tonight, and that is The Northman. But as I've mentioned previously, The Northman is in a bit of trouble because The Northman cost around $90 million to produce. There's now a new report coming out that it could have cost $70 million. And as always, these production numbers sometimes can be fluctuating and sometimes cannot be exact. What I probably will end up doing is have the production budget that I put into the Excel sheet to be the average of those two. It seems just to be the most fair since both of those numbers are coming from reputable sources. I try and do that as often as I can when there are 2 competing narratives or when there are 2 competing numbers. Except in the case when the only person reporting on a certain number might be Scotty Boy Mendelson, of course, because I can't trust that man whatsoever with anything. Anyway, The Northman, $70-90 million production budget means that this film needs to make around 225 or so $200 to $225 million worldwide to break even, which does not sound like a whole lot of money, but when it's only making $9.6 million domestically in its opening weekend, coming out at over 3,000 screens, that is not a very good early sign. This might be a well-performing film for Robert Eggers. This might be a well-performing film for the genre, and this very well could be kind of a tentpole film in again, this filmmaker's career. But does that mean that the film is going to make any money? Now, of course, full disclosure, and from the outset, just because a film makes or loses money does not make a film good or bad. However, it does indicate what kind of stories are going to be produced in the future, and it does help to indicate to the studios what kind of stories audiences actually want to go see. So the reason why it's important for The Northman to be able to make its money back is because if it does, a studio might say, hey, this is a film that people actually might want to go see, and if we market it correctly, which I don't think they really have been doing. I think they've been doing a bigger push the last couple of weeks, but compared to some of the other films that have a similar budget, right, in the similar budget range for this film, I feel like the marketing has been very lacking for the promotional material for this film. And so I think that that's going to end up hindering the film overall. I do hope that the film is good. I still need to see it. Again, I'm going to see it tonight, and so I will give my instant thoughts and reactions once I get out of the film and try and get that up on the channel sometime this evening. But I think that this is a situation where, again, if it is good, I'm going to promote it, and I'm going to hope that people go see it. I'm going to hope that it's able to make its money, if not domestically, then maybe internationally. But again, that massive budget is going to be a huge detriment to it. And so this $9.6 million, even if it is trending upwards compared to previous numbers, should be a concern for Focus Features and also anyone who is a fan of Robert Eggers or just a fan of the film in general. Again, film needs to be successful if they're ever going to hope to be able to continue to make films like this, etc. The other new film, of course, is The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, the Nicolas Cage film, which is expected to come in last place as far as the newer films are concerned. $7.2 million at over 3,000 screens. This seems pretty low. This seems pretty low. Again, you think about all of the people that are fans of Nicolas Cage. You think about people who love the Nicolas Cage memes and jokes. They make a film that's based solely on that concept, and no one wants to go see it. And again, I think part of it is because they're a little bit too on the nose with this marketing and a little bit on the nose with this story. But also, I think it could just kind of indicate that maybe the role of the star is indeed truly gone, even when you're in a film where it is meant to more poke fun and be, again, more comedic, etc., that even then it is going to have an impact where, again, a star like Nicolas Cage, even though a lot of people like him and even though a lot of people are drawn to the weirdness of his persona, not enough to actually spend the cold, hard cash and go see him at the film and go see him at the theaters. So we don't have the budget for this film or for the other films that if I haven't mentioned a budget yet for a film, then it means that we don't have that yet. But I can't imagine that this film cost a whole lot of money. However, it's not looking very good for this film in general. So this budget needs to be pretty low if it's going to help to make itself a profitable film. And I kind of hope it doesn't, because I don't want Hollywood to look at this and if this is a financial success to say, yeah, you know what, this is the kind of film that we need to make more of. You know, it's one thing if they make it like a fun little short film or a fun little teaser trailer or something like that, right? But when you make an entire film based around a meme like this, unless you have a really talented writer and you have a really committed staff and crew, I don't know if this is going to pull it off. We also have, just rounding off the list, Everything Everywhere All at Once, having another strong hold, but again, still needs to make a bit more money to hit its break-even point. But again, $5.4 million after being out technically for about 5 weeks or so is actually pretty impressive. Father Stu expected to make $3.5 million, a 35% hold in its second week of release. We don't have a budget yet for this film, but that is a pretty strong hold. But again, needs to make a little bit more than this if it's going to hope to make its money back, just based on the fact that this film probably cost north of $25 million if I had to take a guess. Lost City continues to hang around as well, $4.8 million, but still a flop at this point. Ambulance as well, still a flop with $3.2 million. And Morbius, last on the list, $2.4 million, also really trending down. Again, 49% is not as bad as a drop as we've seen in previous weeks, but Morbius is in a position right now where it likely will end up being a financial failure and flop, meaning that it did worse than historical trends, and that's not a good sign for it. And I think that it should be a wake-up call to how they're handling the character, and hopefully it affects their future plans that they have for the Sony-verse, however that ends up looking. So what are y'all's thoughts about this? Let me know in the comment section down below. Interesting that these 3 new movies are coming out, and yet it's a 17 to 22% decrease from last weekend's films. So again, 3 new movies, and yet it's going down in box office. I find that quite interesting. But what are y'all's thoughts about this? Let me know in the comment section down below. If you like this video, smash that like button, slap that fire button on Odyssey. You're all amazing and beautiful people. Hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. And as always, God bless. And now for a huge shout out to all of my April Patreon, Subscribe Star, and Locals members. Starting off with Patreon with Animation Commentator, Brandon, let's go Brandon, Brian P., Christopher Bowman, Father Christopher Miller, Hail to you, Father, Father Damian Cook, Garrett Searles, Harold Francis, Hymir Ari Hymeson, Inflamed Wood, Jacob from Holland, Jeff Toon, Joe Horn, Jonathan Carney, Gomer Kyle 79, Laura, The Modern Major General Story, Mike Jackson, Mad Mitch Dunaway, Mondo Spieler, Mr. Peabody, On to June, Orange Hat Reviews, Priscilla Hall, Rosella Allen, Stan Andrian, Miss Martin Muses, Theodore Bendon, Tina Bojan, and Tina B., the Empress of the Universe. Thank you very much for supporting me over on Patreon. And also to my Subscribe Star peeps, Matt317, Storm Tracker, The R, Fast Reaction, Nosferatu Gatsu, Stand 4, John B., Mr. Roy, Glinzer, J. Alice McCarthy Jr., Dean Heiss, J-Rod the Beer Guru, and ZK-Man. And also a huge shout out to my Locals members, starting off with Kara Tharp, K Tharp 56, Also, UAB, Mad Dog, Mike Jackson, Robert Barnes, and also a huge support as well to Brett D90. Thank you very much for supporting me over on Locals. And I want to add a shout out for my newest Patreon member, One-Eyed Jack. Thank you again to everyone for supporting the channel. Please, if you want your name shouted out at the end of every live stream and video, go ahead and check out the top link at the video description. It is my Willow link, as I like to describe it, and it brings you to a link tree where you get access to all of these different locations, as well as all of the various social media platforms that you can follow me on. If you join at the Citizen of Asgard level, you get your name shouted out at the end of every single live stream and video. Army of Asgard level gets you that, plus you get access to a giveaways channel that I have on Discord. If you ever don't have access to that giveaways channel, please contact me. I do send out the link to the Discord and with the instructions on it at the beginning of every single month. But if you don't have access to that giveaways channel where I'm giving away 4Ks and Blu-rays and all that kind of stuff, as much as I possibly can give away is available there. Please just reach out to me and I will gladly walk you through the process to make sure you get access to that giveaways channel. And again, that is, Army of Asgard level, whether you be on Patreon, Subscribestar, or on Locals. Also, if you are the Keeper of the Bifrost level, you get access to all of that. Plus, you get access to a podcast that I do with John the Flick Pick Flickinger. We try and do it once or twice a month. I think we're going to try and do it twice this month to make up for some miscommunication that we had last month. So be on the lookout for that, and look out for those podcast Q&A posts that are always available on the Patreon main page, the Subscribestar main page, on the YouTube side of things as well. The YouTube community tab, you'll always find the podcast Q&A there, and also on the Locals page as well. And if you join at the Chosen of Valhalla level, the highest of the levels, you get access to all of that. Plus, if it's your first month, you get a free t-shirt, any t-shirt you want from my Teespring, my TeePublic, whichever one you want to get it from. You just let me know the size, location I'm sending it to, color, that kind of stuff. You get it sent to you. Plus, you get to be featured once a month on the Chosen of Valhalla live stream, where we all come together and just talk about movies and really anything the Chosen want to talk about, and it is a lot of fun. Anyway, thank you all very much for your love and for your support. You guys are all amazing and beautiful people. Hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. And as always, God bless.